Warning: human warship spotted in restricted space. The signal that shook the galaxy. The void of space had remained undisturbed for centuries in this sector. This was a place where even the most advanced civilizations dared not intrude. A region designated as restricted space by an ancient cosmic treaty. The reason? No one truly knew. The few who ventured too close never returned, their fates sealed in silence. But today, the unthinkable happened. A deep space listening post, stationed at the edge of a distant star system, detected an anomaly, an object moving at alarming speed, leaving behind a signature that should not exist in this sector. The data was clear. A human warship, fully armed, had entered restricted space. Immediately, distress signals were dispatched to neighboring civilizations, warning them of the intrusion. But the real question was, why was it here? And more importantly, who else was watching? The galactic laws of war and peace. To understand the gravity of this event, we must first explore the laws that govern interstellar space. Unlike Earth's political borders, the cosmos is a vast, interconnected domain ruled by treaties far older than humanity itself. The Cosmic Accord of 2214, signed by multiple advanced civilizations, established strict no-fly zones, regions where no species, no matter how powerful, could enter without risking total annihilation. Restricted space zones are more than just empty star fields. They often hold immense strategic value. Hidden technologies from ancient extinct races, black hole anomalies, or relics of long-forgotten wars. Some believe these areas are watched over by an unknown intelligence, enforcing the rules in ways no one fully understands. Humanity, a relatively young species in the galactic community, had always abided by these laws. The United Terran Fleet, UTF, Earth's primary space military force, had strict orders to steer clear of forbidden zones. Yet, against all reason, a Terran warship had breached these boundaries. Had it lost control? Was it responding to an unknown distress call? Or was this an act of deliberate defiance? The warship, a threat or a victim? The vessel in question, designated UTF Revenant, was a Titan-class battleship, one of humanity's most formidable war machines. Armed with planet-cracking weaponry and equipped with cutting-edge stealth technology, the Revenant was built for one purpose: survival in hostile space. But something was wrong. The ship wasn't broadcasting its identification signal, a direct violation of interstellar travel protocols. It moved erratically, as if damaged or avoiding something. Alien intelligence agencies rushed to decode its trajectory, tracing its path back to the last known human-controlled sector. What they found was unsettling. The Revenant had vanished from all human records nearly 6 months ago. Official reports stated it had been lost in a classified deep space mission. No distress calls, no last known location, just gone. And now, out of nowhere, it had reappeared in restricted space. This raised a terrifying possibility. Was the Revenant still under human control? Or had it fallen into the hands of something far worse? Ancient Guardians and Forbidden Zones history provided chilling precedents. The Velkar incident of 2891 remains one of the most infamous cases of a restricted space violation. A rogue fleet of mercenaries attempted to plunder a derelict megastructure in a forbidden sector. Within minutes, their ships were systematically dismantled by an unknown force. No energy weapons, no visible attackers, just silence. When a rescue mission was dispatched, they found only floating debris, each piece sliced cleanly as if cut by an invisible blade. The Revenant, now deep within restricted space, could be facing the same fate. If it had been taken over, by whom? Was it under the control of an ancient, dormant intelligence? Had it been hijacked by an unknown enemy, or worse? Was it unknowingly leading its pursuers straight to a force beyond human understanding? As alien factions deliberated on their next move, one truth became undeniable. The Revenant wasn't just a human problem anymore. It was a galactic crisis waiting to unfold. The galactic response: fear, curiosity, and chaos. The moment the UTF Revenant was detected within restricted space, the entire interstellar community was thrown into turmoil. Diplomats scrambled to defuse tensions, military leaders debated a course of action, and intelligence agencies worked frantically to uncover the truth. For some factions, the warship's presence was a declaration of war. The Zanari Dominion, an empire known for its strict enforcement of cosmic treaties, immediately condemned humanity, claiming that this was a blatant act of aggression. Their war fleets mobilized near the border of restricted space, issuing ultimatums demanding an explanation, or retribution. The Carthid Enclave, however, saw an opportunity. A species of opportunistic scavengers and traders, they sent stealth drones to shadow the Revenant, hoping to discover valuable technology. If the ship had ventured into forbidden territory, it might have encountered something ancient, something powerful. If they could salvage it before anyone else, they could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. Other civilizations hesitated, unsure whether this was a mere accident or the beginning of something far worse. But one thing was clear. The Revenant had forced the entire galaxy into a crisis that no one had been prepared for. The last transmission, a haunting message. As galactic forces debated, a new development sent shockwaves through every major power. A faint distress signal, weak, distorted, and barely decipherable, was traced back to the Revenant. It was not an attack warning. It was not an automated response. It was something far more terrifying. A human voice. Fragmented and filled with static, but undeniably real. "This is Captain Elias Voss of the UTF Revenant. Do not... We were not alone. It's watching us. It's inside. We never should have come here. This is not our..." Transmission terminated. The message ended abruptly. No follow-up signal. No response to hails. For a moment, silence gripped the interstellar community. What had Captain Voss meant by, "It's inside"? Had the crew been compromised? Were they still alive? Or had the warship become something else? Panic spread among the highest echelons of power. The Zanari demanded the immediate destruction of the Revenant before whatever it was could spread beyond restricted space. The Carthid insisted on capturing the vessel, arguing that any knowledge it carried was worth the risk. Meanwhile, humanity remained silent, their leaders withholding information, perhaps out of fear, or because they knew something no one else did. 7. A ship with no crew. As the Revenant drifted deeper into restricted space, its behavior became even more erratic. Surveillance probes detected movement aboard, but no clear life signs. Heat signatures flared and faded, as if the ship itself was shifting, adapting, evolving. One disturbing theory emerged among the greatest minds in xenobiology. The crew might already be dead. Some speculated that the Revenant had become an extension of something else. Something using the ship as a shell, moving it with purpose, unknown to human or alien understanding. Others theorized a technological infection, an advanced, self-replicating intelligence that had overtaken the systems, using the warship as a host. But the most chilling hypothesis came from those who studied the ancient warnings scattered across the stars. Perhaps the Revenant had not been invaded by something. Perhaps it had become something. The ghost fleets of the ancients. The idea of ships vanishing and returning different was not new. Across history, there were cases of vessels crossing into forbidden zones and emerging changed, or worse, not emerging at all. The Vorthos Cataclysm, recorded over 12,000 years ago, described an entire armada that entered a restricted sector in pursuit of unknown energy readings. The fleet vanished without a trace. Decades later, their ships returned, intact, but completely abandoned. Their systems ran as if the crews were still aboard. Yet, no bodies were found. No data logs survived, only eerie, fragmented transmissions, speaking of voices whispering in the void. The Revenant now seemed to be following the same path. Its systems were running without human intervention. Its energy readings fluctuated as if something was altering its core functions. And with every passing moment, it moved deeper into restricted space. Not as a lost ship, but as if it had a purpose. Something had changed aboard the warship. The question was, had it changed on its own? Or had something far older, far more dangerous taken control? And if so, was it still human at all? The Forbidden Zone, a prison or a warning? As the Revenant drifted deeper into restricted space, Its destination became apparent. A sector long feared and avoided by even the most powerful civilizations. Officially, the area was classified as an anomalous dead zone, a region where sensors failed, ships disappeared, and no one who entered ever returned. Legends told of entities beyond comprehension, remnants of an age when the galaxy was ruled by beings so powerful that even the current dominant species could not fathom their existence. Some records referred to them as the Silent Architects, a civilization that vanished millennia ago, leaving behind only cryptic warnings and derelict megastructures that defied physics. Most historians believed they were long extinct, their technology buried beneath the dust of time. But the Revenant's sudden appearance in this region had sparked a terrifying possibility. What if the Silent Architects were not gone? What if they had only been asleep? 10. The Pursuit, a desperate mission. Begins with galactic tensions at their peak. Humanity had no choice but to act. The United Terran Fleet scrambled to respond before alien factions made their move. A high-risk rescue mission was authorized, with the UTF Vanguard, a state-of-the-art reconnaissance vessel, tasked with intercepting the Revenant before it disappeared completely. The Vanguard was commanded by Admiral Lenara Graves, one of humanity's most seasoned officers, known for her unshakable resolve and tactical brilliance. But even she knew this mission was unlike anything she had ever faced. Their objectives were clear: establish contact with the Revenant, retrieve any surviving crew members, determine if the ship posed a threat to the rest of the galaxy. But deep down, everyone aboard the Vanguard understood the unspoken fourth objective. If the Revenant had been compromised beyond salvation, it would have to be destroyed. Entering the unknown as the Vanguard approached restricted space, strange anomalies began to manifest. Time itself seemed unstable. Clocks ran slower, sensor readings fluctuated wildly, and crew members reported eerie sensations, as if being watched. Even the AI system struggled to interpret the data, detecting unknown energy signatures that did not match any known phenomenon. Then, for the first time in centuries, something happened that sent shockwaves through the galactic community. The Revenant changed course. It had been drifting aimlessly for days, its movements seemingly random. But the moment the Vanguard entered restricted space, the warship adjusted its trajectory, deliberately. It was now moving towards something deep, within the forbidden zone. But what was more chilling? The ship acknowledged their presence. A single message appeared on the Vanguard's main communication console. No encryption, no complex codes, just one simple transmission. You should not be here. The transmission had no clear origin, no signature to indicate if it came from the crew, an AI system, or something else. It was the first direct response from the Revenant since its return, and it was a warning. The nightmare unfolds. Against their better judgment, Admiral Graves ordered her crew to press forward. They had to understand what had happened aboard the Revenant. But as they approached, the warship's exterior began to change. At first it was subtle, distortions in the metal, hull plating shifting unnaturally. Then, something impossible happened. The ship began regenerating itself. Scars from previous battles disappeared, deep fractures sealed without the use of nanite repair systems. Entire sections of the warship rearranged themselves as if the vessel was alive. And then, the lights on the Revenant's exterior went dark. The ship stopped broadcasting any signals. For the first time since its reappearance, it went silent. The Vanguard's crew watched in horror as the Revenant's engines reignited, but not in the standard Terran military pattern. Instead of conventional propulsion, an unknown force seemed to pull the ship forward, toward a vast, uncharted anomaly at the heart of the Forbidden Zone, an anomaly that was now waking up, and the Revenant was leading them straight to it. The anomaly awakens as the Vanguard continued its pursuit of the Revenant. Its sensors struggled to interpret the growing disturbance ahead. The anomaly, previously nothing more than an unidentified void on galactic maps, was now revealing its true nature. It was not simply a dead zone. It was a structure, vast beyond comprehension, spanning hundreds of kilometers in every direction, The anomaly was an enormous construct, appearing as a tangled web of dark metallic spires, shifting geometries, and pulsating energy fields. It did not obey any known laws of physics. Its outer surface seemed to phase in and out of existence, flickering between dimensions. And yet, despite its alien nature, one thing was terrifyingly clear. The Revenant was heading straight for it. The Vanguard's AI attempted to analyze the structure, but every reading defied logic. Mass fluctuated. Energy signatures displayed as infinite. At times, the structure seemed older than the universe itself. Then, something far worse happened. A signal emerged from the anomaly. It was unlike anything ever recorded, impossibly deep, layered with frequencies that sent a primal fear through every crew member who heard it. It was not just sound. It was something more, something alive. 4. The Revenant's true purpose. The moment the signal pulsed, the Revenant responded. The once rogue warship, which had ignored every attempt at communication, now acted with clear intent. Its engines flared as it accelerated toward the anomaly, closing the final distance at an alarming speed. Then, without warning, the Revenant spoke again. This time, it was not a broken transmission or a cryptic warning. It was a single, chilling phrase, broadcast across all frequencies. It has returned. The Vanguard's bridge fell silent. Every officer, every technician, every hardened military strategist felt it. A wave of existential dread. The Revenant was not merely lost. It had not simply been taken. It had been summoned. The silent architects, the true masters of the void across the galaxy. Ancient records of the silent architects had always been shrouded in mystery. Most civilizations considered them myths, mere stories passed down from long-forgotten ages. But there had always been warnings, scattered ruins on barren worlds, encrypted messages left behind by vanished empires, warnings carved into asteroid, belts in languages older than the stars. They all spoke of something buried, something that once ruled but had since gone dormant. The anomaly was not a random phenomenon, it was a tomb, and the Revenant was the key. The final decision. Stop. It or let it happen. With time running out, Admiral Graves faced the hardest decision of her career. The Revenant was seconds away from reaching the anomaly. If it crossed inside, there was no telling what would happen next. Two options remained. Destroy the Revenant before it reaches the structure. The ship's advanced technology made this nearly impossible, but if the Vanguard could overload its main reactors, they might trigger a self-destruct. Let it continue. See what happens. Hope that whatever lay within the anomaly was not as apocalyptic as feared. Neither option guaranteed survival. If the Revenant was already compromised, destroying it might provoke whatever force had claimed it. And if they let it reach its destination, they might never get another chance to stop it. But before Graves could issue an order, the anomaly reacted. A massive gravitational surge erupted from its core. The Revenant was no longer moving under its own power. It was being pulled inside, and the Vanguard was being dragged with it. For the first time in her life, Admiral Graves felt powerless. They were going in. Sion. Crossing the threshold. The moment. The Revenant disappeared into the anomaly. Reality itself fractured. Time bent. Space twisted. The Vanguard's crew experienced visions of places they had never seen. Towering citadels of impossible architecture. Endless voids filled with colossal figures. Echoes of voices speaking in languages that predated civilization. Then, a final transmission crackled through their systems. Not from the Revenant. Not from their own communications. From something else. You were warned. Now, it begins. Then, silence. And as the Vanguard was pulled into the unknown, the galaxy watched, in horror because they knew the silent architects were waking up. 18. Into the heart of the unknown. The Vanguard plunged into the anomaly, its systems failing one by one as reality itself unraveled. Alarms blared, warning of gravitational shifts beyond measurable limits. Some crew members screamed, as the ship's interior stretched and compressed, space and time warping at impossible angles. For a brief, agonizing moment, they ceased to exist as physical beings. Their consciousness drifted through a realm of endless black, where shapes older than the universe pulsed with an alien rhythm. Then, as suddenly as it began, it ended. The ship snapped back into reality, emerging into an environment unlike anything seen before. Outside, the anomaly had transformed. What had once been a dark, chaotic mass was now revealed as a titanic megastructure, floating in a void untouched by time. Its surface was etched with shifting runes that rewrote themselves in real time, adapting to the minds that perceived them. And in the center of it all, suspended in an eerie crimson glow, was the Revenant. But it was no longer a warship. It had become something else. The Revenant's evolution, the once familiar hull of the Revenant had morphed, its structure now interwoven with an unknown alien substance. Metallic tendrils extended from its frame, linking it to the megastructure like a parasite reconnecting to its host. Then, with terrifying grace, the ship activated. A low, thrumming energy pulse rippled outward, triggering an ancient process. The megastructure responded in kind, lighting up with power that had lain dormant for eons, and with it, a presence awoke. 20. Contact with the silent architects, a voice, not spoken, not heard, but felt, echoed through every mind on board the Vanguard. You were warned, yet you return, as you always do. Your cycle of ignorance continues. The silent architects were not dead. They had been watching, waiting. The Vanguard's AI attempted to interpret the message, but it was beyond translation. It was not mere language. It was a conveyance of intent, a force so ancient that it did not communicate with words but with understanding itself. Then, the true horror was revealed. The architect's judgment, the anomaly, was not just a prison. It was a seal, a boundary meant to keep something from escaping, something far worse than the architects themselves. Humanity had unknowingly broken the seal. The Revenant was never meant to return. It was a messenger, a harbinger of what lay beneath this structure. And by chasing it, by breaching the anomaly, the Vanguard had accelerated the inevitable. Across the megastructure, more energy pulses ignited. Doors began to open, not to release the architects, but to contain whatever was waking up below them. The final decision, Admiral Graves now faced a choice beyond anything she had ever prepared for. Attempt to flee. Risk escaping through the collapsing anomaly and warn the galaxy, though it was unclear if they could even make it back. Stay and fight. An act of defiance against forces far beyond humanity's comprehension. Surrender to the architects. Submit to their judgment, whatever that might be. But before she could decide, the Revenant moved. The ship, fully integrated into the megastructure, sent out a final transmission, its voice now fused with something inhuman. It is awake. You have doomed yourselves. Then the stars themselves blinked out. 3. The end, or the beginning. Across the galaxy, sensors picked up an impossible reading. A vast shockwave rippled outward from the anomaly, distorting space-time itself. In the heart of the galactic core, ancient artifacts, long thought to be lifeless, reactivated. Lost civilizations, once erased from history, began transmitting warnings. Messages thousands of years old, sent in preparation for this very moment. The silent architects had sealed something away long ago, and now it was free. Humanity had not just trespassed into restricted space. They had unleashed something far, far worse, and this time there would be no warning.